I guess like everywhere, it was a year of kind of trying to return to normal.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as rough as 2020, but we did were able to get back to some normalcy here. Some of our senior groups started meeting back up. There was a couple times throughout the year we had to call off a meeting here or there. We were able to have all of our events this year, so the public enjoyed that. The community enjoyed just having these things that they were so accustomed to. A break is always good, but not that kind of break. It was sad to not have Depot Day and some of the other events in 2020. So to get things back in 2021 was great.
Had good attendance at those too. I was down here for most of them.
We had good attendance at each of the events, and I think that the just the way of life. You've seen people social distance. You've seen a lot of people wear masks. So I think a lot. I think that is the new normal now, and I think there's a lot of responsibility on a lot of folks' part, and we appreciate that. But yeah, it was good. Everything was well attended, and we're really looking forward to 2022.
And as part of that, there was a lot of moving pieces, moving flagpoles, and
yeah,
trying to get other things ready. And
there was this year we talked before about moving our Veterans Park and trying to create a more a park where you can actually go sit and be able to understand the purpose of the Veterans Park. We moved the flagpoles there. We're still waiting on the monuments to come in, but we added some park benches there. And so moving that in the middle of Depot Day was a little complicated. We had some areas blocked off while we were waiting on those to be completed. But those projects are completed now. We got the picnic shelters complete. We got the Veterans Park complete. We're very proud of it. And of course, next year we'll be able to get it landscaped.
And what about economic development this year? New businesses, expanding businesses. What's been going on in Iowa in 2021?
We did have a few new restaurants open up in 2021. One of those reopened from 2020, which was our Mexican restaurant, and so and they're doing great. They're doing really good. We had a new barber shop open up in town, and we had a new print shop open in town as well. So yeah, the economic development on the small town scale has been great for us. We always love to see something new coming into town. We just opened up our new Dollar Tree last week or 2 weeks ago, and every day there's just a crowd of folks down there, and that is the former Fred's building that we've been so concerned about. That building sat empty for about 2 years, and we were getting very concerned that the building was too big for some businesses and too small for others, and it was just an odd. The square footage was just odd to what some of the retailers needed. But Dollar Tree came in and they actually built a firewall because they didn't need the full space. But we're just really, really proud that they decided to come here, and I think they'll do great here. And our community is very appreciative of them venturing here. So we think that's going to be a great addition to our dollar stores in town, to our retail development.
I don't think people realize what a challenge it is sometimes to bring new businesses into small towns.
Well, we get comments all the time. Well, we need a new grocery store. Why didn't y'all do this? Why didn't you bring this? We need a QT. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in a small town. We really worked with the real estate agents for about 2 years in trying to. Dollar Tree had looked at it at one time earlier and felt like the building was too big, and we're able to go back, and it was quite a challenge to get that. So yeah, it doesn't. We don't have a wish list that we can just call up, and it doesn't work that way. So and I think most people understand that, but you'll have a few that criticize. It should have been an Ingles. It should have been a Aldi. Well, we might feel the same way, but that's not the way it works. But we're very, very proud to have Dollar Tree here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that all those groups, like the big ones you just mentioned, they have a formula, and they already know before they come for they're going.
Yeah, and
it's not something you can talk somebody into coming somewhere. Even Anderson has faced that with some things. They don't have the roofs and traffic they want for what people wanted a Costco up there.
That's a major. Yeah. That's a major component. That's a major ingredient to that formula is traffic count, and our major highway is 81, and the traffic count you know, there's a critical need to get more cars on that road to get these type of developments that you know, a lot of folks want to see here, and maybe it will happen, but it's probably years down the road. But we're proud. We're proud of our small town, and when something new comes here, we treat them just like they were Food Line coming in, and maybe that'll happen one day.
What about the old dime store? I know y'all been working to try to get some action over there.
So the old dime store, I think we had talked about. I think you understood the town bought that building back about 2 years ago with the intent to turn it into a community space. We do have some renderings on from an architect on just some concepts that we would like to see there, and we appreciate Senator Gambrell, who was able to provide some appropriations for us to put a new roof on the building, and that's going to be happening early 2022. There should be enough funding left in that to work on a new heat and air system in the building as well, just to get those infrastructure things needed that we're going to need to finish up. But the facade, the exterior renovations, that's what people are going to see. Probably see that in the spring. We're working with the architect now to try to design what's going to be best for downtown. So I think folks are going to be really excited to see that. Once those drawings are available, they'll be available for the public to come by and take a look at them. And maybe by the time we meet again, you can show them on the video. But basically, the building will be for community use. There's a possibility we may split the building for retail, restaurant. We're not really sure yet. That's an idea that the architect is looking at now. But it's going to be a nice, and it's right in the heart of downtown. It's probably in the best position of all the buildings in downtown. So we're proud that we get to be in the driver's seat on that one.
When you say community use, tell people what kind of things it'll be used for.
So in the with our community use, a lot of folks will rent our civic center. It's a huge gym. It's a little too big sometimes for small gatherings. And so we feel like this building will be better used for small birthday parties, receptions, anniversary dinners, and that's sort of what we're looking at doing. Now during the week, we may have some bingo games there, line dancing classes may be held there, and then on the weekend available for rentals. Now, you know, we've talked about having a weekly auction there. There's all kinds of ideas that people have thrown out, and I think all of those, we'll put all those together and decide what is going to be best.
What about, we've talked about housing before. How is it looking for housing down this way, the demand and the people building new? I know there were some new houses going up.
Mm-hmm. So we've got 2 new houses that have been built. They're finishing up now. They are 2 of 8 that are proposed for that lot, or for that section of town. There is another area of town where we're looking at 17 new houses. We're working with a developer now on getting that ready for us so that we can look a little deeper into what we're going to need to do to make that work. But interesting thing that we've got going on now is we've got some folks buying some empty lots that are moving houses here. I think, you know, in the upstate you have a lot of houses sitting out on fields where developers are buying and putting in, you know, several hundred houses, and there's a house in the mix that just needs to be moved out, and so those are being purchased and are just being moved out to different locations, and 2 of those have come here, and so that's great for us because we treat it as a new build. A new, you know, foundation has to be laid, and when the house gets brought in, then you know, renovations, construction has to take place to get it set up, and it's like as if it were a new house. So we've had 2 of those, and looking at a few more things for 2022. We had an old house that the town acquired, and were able to work with some developers on doing something special to that house. We wanted to keep the house intact. We didn't want to tear it down because the historical, it's just, the structure was great. the architecture was great, so we didn't really want to see the house tore down. So these folks are working on it now to sort of restore it, add a room to it. It's going to be nice. So I think that we're going to see a lot of that happen in 2022. If you get one, and if it does great, and the renovations are successful and it sells, I feel like you'll see that happen more in town because we'll have a lot of them. We have a lot of houses that just need good restoration projects. It requires money, but I think 2022 is going to be a great year for housing restoration. Limited new builds in town, and I think the market is still really good. A house does not stay on the market very long here because the prices are still decent. I think over time that's going to go up, but real estate is great here in town, and we do have a lot of folks from out of town buying here right now. So we're starting to see a little growth in town. So we're going to be ready for that in 2022. I don't think we're going to have anybody knock our door down wanting to put 500 houses here, but 17, 8, that's great. And I think that could be completed by the end of next year.
What kind of things are y'all doing that people don't know about, maybe to market the town? I mean, a lot of people don't think about towns marketing, but it's a big part of small towns.
We try to stay active on social media, and interesting, we've talked about this before. We feel like Iva is more geared for senior adults, retired folks to move here because of the lakes and the recreation in this area that's more fit for a rural community. And we're starting to see that. We see a lot of the folks that have retired from the north or even out west. We have a lot of folks that have moved here from, just had a couple move here from New Mexico just a couple of weeks ago that purchased a house here, and they're retired. And they just like that more simple way of living. The traffic, you don't have traffic congestion here. You can cross over 81 fairly quick, and it's not like Anderson where the traffic is just very congested now. So that appeals to a lot of people. Word of mouth, I think the small town is coming back. I think people like small town living, and if you do, Iva's a great location to live. You're an hour and a half from Atlanta, another hour and a half from Charlotte. Anderson's just 10 minutes up the road. You got Hartwell just right down the road. So I mean, it's geographically it's a great location. You're close to everything, but you're not dealing with hundreds of cars on the road at any given time. You can get around great here, and we have all we need. I mean, we have a grocery store here, we have gas stations, we have everything that you need to live here. You can live here and never have to go to Anderson, or if you want to, it's just 10 minutes up the road. So it works that way, but to market that, we try to market it through social media. Our events, when folks come in with families, I think the people who live here tell the story of Iva. They love living here, and they're probably our best marketing tools. The people who live here tell their story.
So we're heading into the end of the year here now. What are some of the challenges y'all are facing going into the end of the year and the beginning of next year?
Well, making sure that we have the funds to finance the city is always a major concern. We're right here in the middle of our budget, but taxes are coming in, so we have to make sure that stretches out for the rest of the year. Making sure that our infrastructure is where it needs to be in case we do get growth. We know we've got small growth coming in, but to keep that updated, and that's a challenge because with a small town, with a small system, it costs just as much as a big system in a lot of ways as far as the repairs, and making sure that we're able to provide those services when folks move here. If you move here and we tell you we're going to provide this, then we got to provide that, and those things don't come free. And so to make sure that we are in a good financial position to take care of those things is always a challenge, as it is with any town. Making sure we're staffed, making sure that that we are able to meet the demand as it comes in. But I think we're positioned to do that. But every day is a challenge. Every day is a challenge. Our cemetery gets busier, and our events, we try to keep those running so that people have things to enjoy. Our senior adults want to meet more, and those things require coordination. And then you have on top of that your office duties and things that we have to maintain here. Sometimes we're just really, really stretched thin, and we're not really in a position to hire more staff. So the staff we do have it just gets more stretched. But that's a good thing because we want to provide what we can for our residents to enjoy, and we want to keep things going. But growth does mean more demand, and so that is definitely going to be a challenge for us. But it's a good challenge to face.
And what are we looking forward to in the first quarter in Iowa? 2022 is almost on us. What do y'all have planned for the first part of the year?
I think strategic planning. We don't really do events in the first part of the year. We sort of relax from the fall and Christmas season are very, very busy with the different things that go on. And so we typically take January, February, March just to sort of recoup and to strategize for 2022 or for the year. And I don't want to say just breathe a little, but basically just sort of breathe a little bit, get things planned out. And but I think in the first quarter of 2022, what you will see happen here in Iva is the dime store. We're going to see a new roof go on the dime store. We're going to try to have everything wrapped up for the planning on that so that we can get some construction going on there. We hope to have some development plans in place for possibly a new subdivision, the 17 houses that we talked about. We want to get that wrapped up and something going on that. We talked about, you and I talked earlier about the museum needing a new roof on it. So that is underway, and I just want to just publicly thank the county. They provided some funds to assist us with the new roof. We had a private donation as well, and then the town's contributing some money to get a new roof. The roof basically collapsed during that horrendous rain that we had back about a month ago. So once the new roof goes on, we're going to redo the museum. We talked earlier about we spent weekends during the summer getting the museum redone to reopen, and the rain just ruined it for us. So we were able to get it done for the People's Bank celebration, but just shortly after that, we had to take everything out of there, so we're going to have to redo it. So we're going to use this opportunity to really do something nice in the museum. So that's something we're going to be planning for in the first part of the year. And our police department is fully staffed now. That was a challenge during the year. We had officers leave, and the whole police departments throughout really the country have been hard to staff lately. And so now that we're fully staffed, that's great. And we've got a great group, got a good chief, and so that's been a challenge, but that we think is good now. So I think our work is cut out for us for the first part of the year, but I think it's going to really benefit us later in the year next year when we can really see some good things starting to happen here.
And you've had stable leadership. Had elections and everything.
We just had an election. Our mayor went back in. This will be his 21st year in office, and he's well loved here in town. All of our council members have been here for years. We didn't have any challengers this time, so they all went back in. So they're all in for another 2 years, and they're ready to roll their sleeves up and work. This council is just great to work with. They want to see growth. They want to see stabilization. They want to keep things simple and small, but at the same time, they realize that we need new housing. We need to get some development here, and they're willing and to do what needs to be done to make that happen. So I think it's good, stable leadership, and I think that's definitely something admired among towns in South Carolina. I think our mayor may actually be the longest serving mayor in the county right now, consistently serving. So we appreciate him and appreciate all he does. He's the leader, but you may see him in a suit and tie in a council meeting. You may see him on a backhoe doing something. You may see him in the parking lot cutting grass. So he's definitely a hands-on mayor. Bobby Gentry, Bob Gentry's been here for a long time, and he's definitely a hands-on mayor. He's definitely the kind of mayor who will basically do anything. So we appreciate him, and he's well loved. And our council members, you know, some of the folks in the county may not know, but Mr. Powell, Elmer Powell, was the mayor back in the 80s, and he has served on the council really ever since. His wife was the mayor here for a while, but he's been part of the town's political structure for years. So good leadership with him. Mr. Paul Hart has been on council since 2004, I believe. Miss Mary Forster has been on council since 2004, and then Mr. Dwayne Kelly went on council back in 2014. So they both, all of our council members have been here for quite a while, and they're all just great people to work with.
So you're expecting 2022 to be a big year for Iva?
Yes, we're expecting 2022 to be a good year for Iva. We think that with new houses coming in, we'll have new residents moving in here, and I think that Jackson Mill, I think that this will be the year that we can really start working on some good development plans for Jackson Mill and really starting to market that property. That takes a lot of people working together. It's not just the town. It's going to involve the county. It's going to involve the state. But you got 17 acres there, sitting right on Highway 81. That is good property. So we definitely are going to start working on Jackson Mill. New houses, more cars on the road will help us really do something good with that property. It's going to take a long time. Nothing's going to build there next year, but the plans and the planning for that is going to be fun. It's going to be an opportunity for the town to really do something special with that property, and it holds a special place in many hearts because it was where a lot of people worked, you know, and there's a lot of people attached to that property, and so I think people are eager to see something happen there. And I think that 2022 will be the year that we can really sit down and start working with developers to do something special there, or at least get ideas and get the ball in motion. And so I think that's going to be a fun thing to do.